the appalling targeting of reporters who are trying to tell America's story. There is so much that's so wrong about this situation. First and foremost, the videos seen around the world. The video of George Floyd's final minutes alive. It's so wrong that it's hard to see. But it is right that we look. It is right that we bear witness. And it is right to see protesters taking action as a result. But it is wrong to see reporters and photographers and news crews being assaulted and arrested at these protests. Police firing rubber bullets at reporters when the reporters are holding up press badges? That doesn't belong in America. Authorities handcuffing reporters is wrong. That's what happens in authoritarian regimes, not in America. But yet it happened again last night in Minneapolis and in New York. These threats against the press are not just coming from police. In recent days, protesters have ganged up on the press in several cities. We've seen a photojournalist attacked. We've seen a TV news crew chased out of a park. That is wrong. Rioters destroying TV news vehicles and stealing cameras is wrong. Almost everybody knows this, and it's right to call it out and say that America is better than this. Reporters don't want to be the story. They just want to tell the stories of the protesters and the police and the residents of these communities that want to be able to feel safe. Let me show you some of the examples of what we've seen in terms of reporters seemingly being targeted. This, for example, was on Friday in Louisville. This is a local CBS reporter and her cameraman in Louisville, Kentucky, apparently shot with pepper balls while live on the air. Later, the police apologized to the station. But we've seen other reporters. Here's Dallas, for example, other reporters being hit by rubber bullets, by tear gas. There are these situations we've seen in a number of different cities. I'll read some other examples to you. A reporter in Columbia, South Carolina was hit by a rock and had to be taken to the hospital. Here's a freelance photographer in Minneapolis who was shot in the left eye while covering the protest. She says she's been blinded in one of her eyes as a result. In Chicago, a Chicago Tribune photographer said looters shoved and stole her cameras. In D.C., this is in Washington, in Lafayette Park, a Fox News crew was harassed and then chased out of the park by protesters who were cursing and screaming at Fox News and criticizing right-wing media. This is deplorable behavior by protesters. We've also seen in Las Vegas the arrests of 2 photographers. Police took these photographers into custody. That is completely inappropriate. They were then let out the next morning. You know, we need to follow up on these cases and make sure that people are held accountable when these incidents happen. Reporters should not be the story in these cases. But it's happened again in the past few hours. Overnight here in New York City, a reporter for HuffPost was arrested while wearing a police badge and covering a protest in Brooklyn. In Minneapolis, a Los Angeles Times staff writer had police firing tear gas and rubber bullets at point blank range at her into a crowd of protesters and journalists.